Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 3 of Sakurada Reset, or as I like to call it, Lobotomy 101. Because by the end of this episode, much as it was the case with the first episode of this series, I'm like, did I just get a lobotomy? Am I sure I know what the hell's going on in this show? I'm not really sure. It's a mind F, but it's still very much intriguing to me, and it kind of ticks me off a little bit because by the end of this episode, they've already kind of explained to you what the whole point of it was. I mean, you're still kind of left grasping at straws to fill in the blanks, but they gave you the answer. That whole aspect of what is a MacGuffin was for the viewer. That's telling the viewer this is the whole point of the cat business. It's the MacGuffin. It's to propel Kei and Haruki to use the reset. We don't actually see the real reason for it, but Kei ends up suspecting there must have been something. Something else was going on, much as was kind of sort of the case with the first 2 episodes with Sumir's death. Some of the things, the way everything worked out and the way everything shaped up on reliving the same amount of days over again added up a little bit differently. And there was a point where Sumir was supposed to come and visit him, and she never did during one of the reset amount of days, and things just all coincided differently. It all played out differently. Similarly so in this episode, all of the cat business aside, we'll get into that in a moment, Kei finally sort of realizes they've been dogged a little bit here. There's this woman who wants a reset to be brought forth, but I believe she was kind of hired for the purpose of manipulating them into it. What are her motivations? Is she working with the organization that Kei and Haruki are? It all remains to be seen. It's the overhanging question we're left with. What was the purposes of this? Who was behind it, and what are they trying to gain out of this? It's highly intriguing, but there's a ton of other crap going on, hand-shaped holes in walls that disappear when you're trying to look through them, a girl in class telling different stories about, a vampire at a mountain, and Haruki realizes during the second playthrough of Days, Kei must have heard this before, and he's just pretending to have heard it for the first time. Sure enough, after the reset, then she's talking about ghosts and this hand hole in the wall, and so does everything tie into that? Is that, they're trying to capture maybe whoever has this ability to create holes or something along those lines? Is this a threat, perhaps? Is it someone who escaped? Are they trying to find them or prevent the escape by causing the reset? There are so many outlying factors on the cursory borders of everything that we see in this episode that's like WTF. If you don't take all of that into consideration, that there's got to be outward manipulations going on, there's got to be a grander design to everything, you're going to be left just WTFing this whole episode, I think, at any case. And they kind of drive it home by the end. They saved the cat, so that's really no questions asked. That we should be happy, we should be satisfied. Well, I'm effing not. I'm not satisfied at all. Neither do I take it as Kei. If Haruki had been sort of up on everything he is, all of the observations and speculations he's been having through this course of events, and then reliving the days and everything, meeting Nono, the cat girl, for all intents and purposes, days ahead of time from the original timeline, and all this stuff, I mean, he is the one who has the memory power, but it's like he's 3 steps ahead of the game speculation-wise. He knows there's got to be something else going on. He was deliberately told there's a MacGuffin. The cat was the MacGuffin. What purpose did it serve in the end? We don't know yet. Hopefully we'll find out something more come the next episode. It looks like somebody was named in the PV. I think it was Hitsuchi, the person Kei is on the phone with, who told him about the MacGuffin and sort of reprimanded him for speculating a little, maybe 3 steps too far, that the MacGuffin and this whole issue with the cat might be interlinked and everything like that. And so then the dialogue suggests, in any case, in the PV, that this person, Hitsuchi, might have been killed. They weren't dead in the original 3 days and everything. It's all trippy. It's all crazy. And I hope the other leg drops in the next episode to fill in all those holes, hand-shaped though they may be. I like that Haruki drops the fact, which answers to one of the overhanging questions left from the first 2 episodes. Why was it 2 years before anything else was said or done about resetting and using abilities and everything like that? And she basically says after what happened in the first 2 episodes, the death of Sumire, Kei became reluctant to just use this ability willy-nilly. Unless everything is much more locked down, and in this case, in the case of this episode, they're given the orders to do so, he's not going to. He's not going to walk into a scenario where they might just decide to use their, I missed a movie, and we're going to decide to reset so we can catch it before it's out of the theater. But by doing so, who knows what will change in the balance. Something highly negative, most likely. I put forth the speculation that it's kind of like a trade-off thing, like in Full Metal Alchemist, where the alchemy, for everything you change, you'll lose something, or everything you gain, you'll lose something. It has to be an equivalent trade-off. So for all the good that they do, there's a highly likely chance, if we're to take the first 2 episodes at face value, that there will be something bad performed in answer to that. Now, that's just my speculation. I don't know if it's actually working out that way at all. It could just be coincidental, but it seems there is some malevolent force or perhaps group of people with abilities that are answering to what's going on. It's very much a tip of the hat in this episode with this Murase woman, who is questionable to begin with. The way she's very, sort of reserved, and she's talking straight at face value, but her demeanor, the way she's depicted, definitely sent up flags for me. She comes into this pseudo date that Kei and Haruki are having after he gets a message from his buddy in his head. I thought for a minute maybe it was like he was hearing an answering machine, but he's looking around at the clock and everything, and he's realizing, it's in his head, and then you hear Haruki. They got a date to have some tea, and this woman is sent to them, Murase, who talks about her precious cat had died. And she was sent, of course, by the guy back at the school who's overseeing their club and everything like that from the organization. And it's such an ironic quirk of fate that is the case, that the whole impetus for resetting and reworking time is to save the life of a cat. A very sort of, not that I want this cat to die, but I mean, if Haruki is saying Kei did not want to use these abilities frivolously, only in for significant purposes, and with the organization working now with them, guiding them, not for anything that is not immediately and directly connected with abilities. At face value, a woman comes in, my cat died, save my cat. There's no inherent abilities immediately flashing as being a part of this. We find out later, yes, this woman has abilities too. Everyone in this, neck of the woods has abilities, as we're told. That's sort of the confines of the whole Sakurada region. Everyone has abilities of all different kinds of makes and models. But an innocent woman seemingly comes up and says, my cat died in an accident. I want you to save it. That's kind of frivolous, I would think. There's no, again, immediately suspicion that powers and abilities are involved in any of this. And yet Kei goes along with it because it's an order passed down by their boss, for all intents and purposes. And that struck me as odd. But it is, of course, as I say, as we find out through the course of the episode, there are more machinations, more outlying machinations, cursory machinations going on to create this whole problem. It sees, of course, Kei and Haruki going to this no-no girl, the cat girl, who she can sense cats, where they are, how they're feeling, whether they're fed, and sort of almost seeing through their eyes kind of thing. But she needs her mind to be completely at ease, completely blank, and she tries to do this by sleeping. Now, I'm assuming it's time constraints that saw her sensing where this gray cat was after the reset and everything like that. Because each time she's like trying to doze off, within seconds she's already reporting what she's sensed and everything like that. I have a hard time believing that she fell asleep that quickly, put it that way. But it does take a little time. They reset and everything like that. They know what kind of snacks, rather than cream bread or whatever it is, she wants something else with cream, buns or cookies or whatever it is. And they know to bring her favorite snack to her on the second time round after the reset. They close the gap of time, getting to her much earlier to try to figure out where the cat is, because it'll be living. It will not have suffered anything. And there's a lot of strange misdirection with the whole cat thing. Going to her, she doesn't immediately recognize the cat when she sees, or rather, here's the description. She sees the picture of the cat. Then she's like, okay, well, whereas at first she said there are no gray cats, well, this is a gray and white cat. So, semantics a little bit there. But she sees the cat. Well, I haven't seen him for a while. Her story changes a little bit. But after the reset, and they're able to bring her up to speed, she's actually pretty effective in locating where this cat is. It's being fed, it's being held in a room with a bed and a picture, and the picture kind of looked like Kay a little bit, but I don't know, because it was kind of blurry. Whomever is holding this cat captive is caring for it. Of course, by the end, the other leg drops, because you find out at one point, while they're visiting, this Murase woman is there eavesdropping. And after the reset, we see her leaving the eavesdropping situation as though it happened after the reset. Like she was still there, but it was after the reset. That kind of tripped me up. I don't know if it was poor editing or if they did it on purpose. They approached, there is Murase eavesdropping. They reset and are going to go back and talk to after a day or whatever like that. After the reset is completed, then we cut back to those trees just off the property of the shrine where Nono is staked out with all her cats, and the Murase woman is leaving then, as if she had been there the whole time, or maybe she didn't experience the reset, or maybe this is something that propelled her idea, because that, as we see by the end, all the timey-wimey trippiness that has me feeling lobotomized, sees that when they locate the cat, they get Nono and Haruki and Kei, they all get together outside this bakery where it was supposed to have happened, and it doesn't even look like cars can go through that thoroughfare. It looks like it's foot traffic only, but they purport that the cat had been hit by a car right outside this bakery, and even the baker didn't see anything. He only thought he heard the noise that might have been when the cat got killed. And of course, Nono senses the cat. They run around the corner, and there is Murase dropping off the cat. So she's deliberately planting the cat there. She got the MacGuffin and the ball rolling for whatever grander design is going on. As I say, rendering most of this cat-chasing stuff pointless, with the exception of the fact that the cat was saved, if it had even been killed to begin with. She could have been lying flat out. But it seems as though, in the original history now, that they've gone back, they reset, this woman dropped off the cat, saw to its being killed, that gave her an impetus to go and contact their pseudo-boss and say, I want you to save my cat, which was part of some grander design. They needed to bring about a reset for some reason. Something had gone wrong, something had played out differently that was probably bad. They needed to go back and make sure that wasn't going to happen again. Kay suspects maybe there are other people who also have his kind of ability, a memory ability where even if a reset happens, they'll still know about it. They'll still, they'll be able to manipulate things in a similar fashion to how Kei and Haruki attempt to do. And, then all of a sudden, as Kei's going to grab this woman and stop her from running off, she uses this gravity ability which sees her propelled up into the air. She flies, literally flies away. And they're all dumbstruck. And even their boss is like, well, look, at the end of the day, you saved the cat. No more questions asked. You did what you needed to do. You completed your mission. Oh, but by the way, maybe you don't reset in the next 3 days. Why? Why? Why not reset again? Why not try to go after this woman? Obviously, the MacGuffin was this cat. That was the MacGuffin. The cat was the MacGuffin to see to them using a reset and undoing something that had been done, or opening the gamut wide so something that shouldn't happen could happen and see what effect it would have. as we see in the PV for the next episode, this Marase woman is psycho. She's saying she's going to kill them all, whoever all of them are. Presumably the people involved in this organization, our main characters, Kei and Haruki, are probably under the danger of her threat. And it's like, why? You know, that's what leads me to suspect there must be some evil, sort of ominous organization of people with abilities to go against this seemingly benevolent organization. Maybe it's something like Alice Tuzoroku, where the organization are the baddies and the people who are actually, for the purposes of good, are trying to shut that organization down, the manipulation of people with abilities that Kei and Haruki might be wrapped up with unknowingly. Who knows? It could go any which way. And if you're still listening to me ramble about this episode, mucho thanks and props to you. Because at the end of the day, as I say, the whole cat thing, that was the MacGuffin for the episode. That's why they wanted that in there. The second time around, there's no need to express it again. There's no need to explain it again, because by the end, they'll give you the other leg dropping and you'll piece it together. The cat was the MacGuffin. What part of the grander design, the grander scheme of things, was it that caused them to utilize this MacGuffin to bring about a reset, is the question. And so they save the cat, happy-go-lucky, everyone's happy. We got a couple new characters introduced in Nono and Marase, and a lot of weird trippiness that just, they aren't straightforward. That's the problem with a lot of the writing of this show. They aren't really straightforward, at least in the setup. If we look at the first 2 episodes of the series, the setup was wonky as all hell, just as this episode was. But you get to the second episode, the episode that answers to and clarifies all about everything that was going on, and it's much more straightforward. Once again, we have a setup where it's not very straightforward. You're getting led left, right, and center all over the place for the purposes of the merry chase, which is only one small aspect of the grander picture. And so hopefully the next episode will answer to all of the crap that was set up in this episode, and we'll get a more straightforward answer to all of that as well. So, I mean, interesting episode. Oh, and I completely forgot. We end this episode as though the entirety of it hadn't already been full of WTF-ery. We end this episode with the girl from Kei's and Haruki's class who was telling the story of the vampire at the foot of the mountains or whatever, who was telling the story of this ghostly apparition who's creating hand-shaped holes in the wall. And she's part of a club or something like that goes after and investigates unexplained happenstances rather, and occurrences. And so he wakes up very much on the same day the episode began, where he's getting that message from his buddy about meeting with Haruki at the tea house. Only now, here is this woman, this girl from his class, floating above his bed, a la, Dana Barrett in Ghostbusters, presumably not possessed as Dana was in Ghostbusters, because she's very apologetic, but she's floating, and so we know now we have 2 characters who can fly and float and whatever. Are they related? Their hair color's kind of the same, so maybe they are. Maybe she's trying to get into contact with Kei and the organization by extension because her elder sister or her mother or something, whomever Marase may be to her. I don't think we got this, student's name at all. But maybe she's related to that character and they have similar abilities and she's seeking help or asylum or something. Put her sister into one. I don't know. This series is a brain F on every level, and I'm intrigued by it. I enjoy it. I don't know why I do, but I do. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if this video helped you at all to understand what the hell happened, if you didn't need my help, if you were pretty much following along and, at the same pace that I was figuring it out, if you were left where I was left. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments. Our POVs can certainly disagree, as long as we're amicable and respectable about it. I mean, hate on this shit all you want. Pardon the language. If you so desire. But yeah, otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.